Ah, they walked away, huh? Like you didn't matter. Like your silence meant surrender. Like your loyalty was disposable. They dipped when things got quiet. When the fire stopped burning. When you weren't handing out pieces of your soul on a silver platter anymore. But you want to hear the beautiful part, kid? You didn't chase. You didn't beg. You just disappeared. And that's when it started. That itch. That burn in their chest they couldn't scratch. That little whisper inside them at 2 a.m. saying, you messed up. You see, presence, real presence. It's not about loud noise. It's not about posts or texts or pretending to be fine. It's about that invisible grip you leave on someone's mind when they thought you'd always be there. And then you're not. And now they're choking on that silence. They're starving for what they used to drown in. You gave too much, didn't you? You gave time, energy, truth, loyalty. And what did they do? Treated you like a background character in a story you wrote for them. But here's the part they never tell you. Absence hits harder than presence ever did. It's not when you're around that they realize what you mean. No, it's when you vanish. Like smoke. Quiet. No explanations. No one last time. Just gone. That's when it begins. That's when your presence starts haunting them like a ghost they can't get rid of. And you want to know why? Because truth has a way of echoing. Loyalty has a memory. And silence? Oh, silence screams louder than rage ever could. I know what you're feeling right now. That sting, that hollow chest, that tight throat. You think they forgot you, but the joke's on them, because now they can't stop remembering. That's the game nobody talks about. When you walk away clean, when you walk away without noise, they start writing a story in their heads. They question everything, every word you said, every move you made. They start to replay every scene like a broken film, hoping they missed something, but they didn't. You just meant more than they were ready for. And now? Now they're craving you like air in a suffocating room. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break it down for you. One by one. 10 reasons. 10 blades that twist in their mind long after you're gone. 10 things that make them miss you so bad it hurts. Not because you're perfect. Because you were real. In a world full of masks, you walked in barefaced. And they weren't ready for that. They weren't built for that. But now? Now they look around and all they see is fake smiles and shallow hearts. And they whisper your name in rooms you'll never walk into again. Not because they love you. Nah, too late for that. But you'll see right through them this time. 'Cause silence taught you to read more than just words. It taught you to read energy, actions, patterns. You're not bitter. You're not broken. You're just done playing small to fit in the frames of people too blind to see your worth. And now, Now, you move like a shadow, calm, quiet, calculated. You don't chase anymore. You attract, you build, you destroy, but only what no longer serves you. And the power in that, it scares them. 'Cause they remember the old you, the one who begged, cried, waited. And now, you're the version they said you'd never become. The one who knows better. The one who doesn't flinch when the world tries to test him. The one who laughs without needing company. The one who finally learned that walking alone isn't loneliness. It's evolution. They say the worst part of betrayal is that it never comes from enemies. Cute little quote, right? But you felt it. Not read it, felt it. In the way your chest burned while forcing a smile. In the way you kept showing up for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. In the way they used your silence against you. Painted your loyalty as desperation. Your love as weakness. You gave them everything, the truth, the time, the effort, and they treated it like a discount offer. You were never hard to love. They were just too empty to understand the kind of heart that doesn't quit on people. You weren't looking for worship. You just wanted someone real. Someone who didn't fold when things got messy. But nah, they dipped when the storm rolled in. Left you drowning while they stood dry on the shore, telling the world you were too emotional, too much. And that's what broke you, right? Not the leaving, the way they left. Cold, quiet, no closure. Like you never mattered. Like you were just a chapter in a book they were too lazy to finish reading. And then came the silence. That thick, suffocating silence. Where the phone didn't ring, the door didn't knock, and your thoughts were the only voices that stayed. That's when you cracked. Not the loud kind of breaking, the silent kind, the kind that happens in the dark when no one's watching, when the only witness is the ceiling you've stared at for too many nights. You questioned everything. Was I the problem? Did I expect too much? Was I not enough? But nah, that was never the case. They just weren't built for someone who gives without keeping score. You're not crazy for wanting consistency, for craving depth, for needing more than surface level. I'm here for yous that disappear the moment you need them. You were just born into a world that romanticizes toxicity and calls it passion, that glorifies distance and calls it mystery, that praises selfishness and calls it self-love. So, yeah, you were the problem for people who didn't know what real looks like. But here's where the game flips. That silence you hated, it made you. It taught you how to breathe without validation, how to survive without being seen, how to become the type of person that don't need noise to feel powerful. The truth? You were always strong, but strength gets quiet when it's tired. And you were exhausted, carrying people, stories, burdens that never belonged to you. You didn't walk alone because you wanted to be a savage. You walked alone because you realized no one was walking with you. They were riding your back. They loved the light you gave until they saw it start burning them. Then they called you toxic. Ain't that a punchline? You heal people, hold them, hype them, and they label you a threat when you finally put that same energy into healing yourself. But it's cool. Let them talk. Let them spin their little narratives. Meanwhile, you're becoming unrecognizable, evolving in shadows, plotting in silence. That's what the walk alone does. It makes monsters out of angels, not evil, awake. And now, look at you, still standing, scarred, yeah, but smarter. They thought there had to be a catch, some hidden agenda, some trap. They didn't believe someone could be that loyal without a leash around their neck, so they mistook you for weak. They took advantage. They tested how far you'd go. And you kept giving until you didn't. And now the absence of that giving, it burns. Now they notice that no one else checks in like you did. No one else shows up without a motive. No one else listens without waiting to talk. No one else gives without expecting receipts. And it eats at them. Because they remember the nights you stayed up just to talk them down from their chaos. They remember the little things, the way you noticed their mood before they even said a word, the way you remembered things they only mentioned once, the way you protected them from their own self-destruction without ever bragging about it. You gave like it was your job to carry both your world and theirs, and they just received. Greedy, silent, entitled. And now that fountain's dry, and the desert they're walking in, it's got your name written all over it. You want to know what haunts them? Not your leaving, not your silence, but the comparison. Every person they talk to now feels less attentive, less patient, less giving. You ruined average for them. You destroyed their taste for half effort, and now they crave what they took for granted. But it's too damn late, because you weren't a free refill. You weren't a vending machine. You were a human being with limits, with scars, with depth. And once you saw the pattern, the taking, the using, the empty gratitude, you pulled back, not to punish, but to preserve what was left of you. And oh, now they sit there pretending they're fine, putting on smiles, acting like losing you was part of some grand plan. But late at night, when the world gets quiet, that guilt, that ache, it starts crawling up their spine. Because deep down they know they had someone rare, someone who gave like love was infinite. And they know they didn't match it. They never even tried. And that imbalance, that unequal exchange, it haunts them more than any fight ever could. Because the moment they realized they couldn't find that kind of love again was the same moment they realized they never deserved it to begin with. Third reason, you stayed when it wasn't easy. You know what separates you from everybody else they ever met? You didn't just show up when it was pretty. You didn't just love them when they were lovable. You stayed when it was messy. You stayed when they were cold, distant, confused, and angry at things that had nothing to do with you. You stayed when their trauma started speaking louder than their love. You stayed when they were pushing you away, testing if you'd abandon them like everybody else. And you didn't. You kept showing up, not because you were blind, but because you understood. You knew that pain doesn't come with instructions, that healing doesn't happen on a schedule. So, you gave them time, space, grace. You took hits that weren't meant for you. You held hands that trembled and still called them home. You stuck around when others would have left without looking back. And now, that loyalty haunts them. Because guess what? Now you don't panic when people leave. You don't chase. You observe. You analyze. And if they can't match your energy, your standards, your peace, you walk, not out of arrogance, out of growth. See, walking alone taught you the difference between company and weight, between presence and pressure, between love and attachment. And you're done carrying what doesn't carry you back. You've become your own rescue mission, your own peace, your own thecking army. And still, they'll whisper. They'll watch from a distance, trying to figure out how you survived without them. They'll say, he changed. She's cold now. He thinks he's better. But what they won't say? That they failed you. That they abandoned you. That they underestimated you. Because accountability, that's poison to people who live in denial. So let them lie. Let them paint their little stories. Meanwhile, you build in silence. You grow in darkness. And when they least expect it, you rise. Not for revenge, not to prove anything, but because survival wasn't enough for you. You didn't just want to breathe, you wanted to breathe fire. You didn't just want peace, you wanted to become it. And now that you've walked through the storm, alone, barefoot, broken, you know your worth. You don't just feel it, you embody it. And there's no going back, no more shrinking, no more dimming your light so others can shine. From now on, it's elevation or isolation. No in between, no compromises. Just cold, calculated clarity. Let me break something down for you, real clear. Pain is your blueprint now. All that hurt you bottled up, all the nights you collapsed silently, the mornings you wore a fake grin to survive. Yeah, that's your fire. That's your weapon. That's the reason you're dangerous now. Because unlike them, you didn't run from pain. You shook hands with it. You sat in it. Drowned in it. You bled through the silence and came out screaming inside. And no one noticed. No one cared. And that, my friend, is the cruelest education you'll ever get. But it's also the most powerful. Because once you've been abandoned, betrayed, lied to, and erased, once you've been broken so deep you forgot what peace even felt like, you stop fearing loss. You stop clinging. You stop needing. And that's what flips the game. Because the man who has nothing left to lose, he's the one you never want to see rise. He's the one who doesn't fight for validation. He fights to evolve. And evolution, that's messy. That's silent. That's built in the shadows while the world's too busy gossiping to see what's coming. You remember when you begged them to stay? When you tried explaining yourself, like your heart was some courtroom and they were the damn judge? You gave them evidence, truth, vulnerability, and they still turned their backs. They chose peace over truth, ego over connection. But what they didn't know, what they never realized, is that their exit was your entry. The day they left was the day the old you died. The soft one, the forgiving one, the one who always made excuses for other people's damage while neglecting your own. That version of you, gone, buried. And in its place stands something else, someone else. It becomes a drug they don't realize they're addicted to until the supply runs dry. You want to know why it haunts them now? Because everywhere they go, they gotta pretend again, gotta act okay, gotta filter their emotions, gotta tone it down, hide the weird parts, fake a little confidence here, add a fake smile there, but with you, they were raw. They could be soft without feeling weak. They could be vulnerable without feeling judged. They could be quiet, and it was still enough. That's what they miss. That feeling of enough. That freedom. That I don't have to perform today kind of love. And now it's gone. And they're back in the circus. Back juggling egos and expectations. Back trying to be liked instead of being loved. You didn't need them to impress you. You didn't fall for the mask. They didn't even have to wear it. You saw value in their silence, in their broken thoughts, in their complicated stories. You saw them. Not the version they posted, not the image they projected, just them. And that's rare. That's once in a lifetime type energy. People chase fantasies. You embraced the real. And the worst part? They weren't ready for it. They were scared of being seen. So they sabotaged it. They kept you at arm's length while secretly hoping you'd hold tighter. They made you feel like you were too much when they were just afraid of not being enough. But now, they're out there, hoping someone else will love the same mess you did. And guess what? No one does. Because most people don't have that capacity. Most people want the shiny, the simple, the soft. But you were willing to sit with the fire. You didn't need them to shrink their chaos. You just asked them to be honest. And that honesty, that comfort, that's the echo in their chest now. Every time someone gets tired of them, every time that they feel like burden, every time they start to shut down again, they remember you, the one person who didn't ask for anything except truth. And now that you're gone, every part of them feels the pressure to pretend again. But the problem is, once someone tastes real acceptance, fake feels like poison. You didn't just give them attention, you gave them permission to be, to exist, to exhale. And now they're holding their breath in every room you're not in, craving the version of themselves that only ever came alive when you were near. Fifth reason, you matched their darkness without running from it. They thought they were too broken to be loved, didn't they? Too complicated, too much, too cold one day, and too needy the next. They walked through life, thinking no one could ever handle the weight they carried. And then you showed up, and you didn't flinch. You didn't run when the walls got high or the silence got thick. You didn't panic when they shut down or lashed out. You matched that darkness. You sat in it with them. No flashlight, no preaching, just you, present, unshaken. You understood that people like them weren't asking to be saved. They were asking not to be abandoned. And that's what you did. You stayed. You walked through their hell without trying to paint heaven over it. You didn't need to fix it. You just needed them to know they weren't walking alone anymore. And that was everything. Most people see a little sadness and they back off. They hear the trauma, the regrets, the messy past, and they politely excuse themselves. But not you. You didn't get scared by their shadows because you had your own. You spoke the same unspoken language. You understood that love isn't about rescuing, it's about recognizing. And they never forgot that. They never will. Because now they're surrounded by people who only want the light parts, the smiles, the wins, the joy, the social media version of healing. But none of them can sit still when the room gets heavy. None of them can handle the ugly cries, the dark thoughts, the nights where the pain gets louder than the logic. But you could. You did. And you made it look effortless. You didn't offer empty words. You didn't say, "I'm here for you," and disappear when it got real. You stayed through the withdrawals, the mood swings, the confusion. You didn't take it personal when they snapped at you. You knew it wasn't about you. You didn't get offended when they needed space. You gave it without punishment. You didn't guilt trip them for not being cheerful. You sat with them in silence and let that be enough. And that kind of presence, that kind of emotional strength, it can't be replaced. That's not something they'll find in the next person or the next. Because most people only know how to receive love, not hold space for it. And now, they miss that balance, that peace, that safety net, that feeling of not having to pretend to be healed when the wounds were still fresh. They miss the way your voice cut through the noise, the way your energy calmed the storm, the way you understood without needing paragraphs of explanation. They're sitting in rooms with people who don't even notice the shift in their eyes, while you used to read whole pages from a single look. That's what's killing them now. Not just your absence, but the silence that replaced your understanding. You weren't afraid of their demons. You danced with yours and still found the grace to hold them through theirs. And now that you're gone, they're drowning in their own darkness again. Only this time, there's no one sitting beside them saying, "It's okay, I'm not leaving." And they crave you, not just for the light you brought, but for how you held them when the lights went out. Sixth reason, your absence taught them what presence actually meant. And you paid it, alone, with no applause, no validation, no helping hand. And still, you rose. Not as the old you, patched and hoping, but as someone new, someone dangerous, someone untouchable. And now the world's watching, waiting, wondering how the hell you did it. And you won't say a word, because they already missed their chance to hear your voice. You know what most people never understand? That the loneliest part of your journey ain't when everyone leaves. It's when you finally stop waiting for them to come back. That's the real death. The death of hope. The death of the version of you who used to believe people would do right by you just because you did right by them. That version? He's gone now. Burned by betrayal. Choked by silence. Replaced by something colder, sharper, smarter. And they'll say, you became heartless. But you didn't. You just stopped pouring into cups with holes. You stopped fighting for seats at tables where you were only invited to be mocked, used, or silenced. You stopped loving people with the kind of depth they never even earned. And now they sit with their new distractions, pretending they're fine, while your absence carves holes in their chest they'll never admit are there. You didn't change. You returned to yourself. You stopped betraying your own soul just to keep fake ones around. And if that makes you the villain in their story, so be it. Better a villain in their lie than a prisoner in their chaos. You see, there's a moment, a dark, bitter moment, when you finally accept that closure isn't coming, that the apology you deserve ain't on its way, that the people who wronged you will walk around smiling like they did nothing while you carry the wounds like medals no one can see. And that's when you stop asking why. That's when the rage inside starts whispering, build, rise, detach, not for revenge, not for the drama, but because your peace is worth more than their guilt, because your growth is not a gift you owe to the ones who broke you. It's a weapon you sharpen in silence. And trust me, they'll notice. They always do. The minute you stop talking, the minute you stop chasing, the minute you stop bleeding out for people who never even noticed the cuts, they feel it. They feel your distance like a drought, but they'll never say it out loud. Nah, they'll pretend. They'll post. They'll act. But deep down, they know. They lost something real, something rare, something irreplaceable. And you You finally understood. A presence, a force, a healing space, a safe place. And now that you're not there to remind them of what that feels like, every little moment screams your name in its absence. And here's the part they'll never say out loud. They don't just miss you, they miss who they were when you were around. Calmer, lighter, more understood, more alive. You didn't just give them company, you gave them clarity. You gave them that rare feeling of being seen, heard, valued, even when they had nothing to offer. And now they're just another lonely soul, surrounded by people who only notice when they leave, not when they stay. You flipped the whole world upside down for them just by walking away. And now, every second of your absence feels like a lesson in presence they weren't ready to learn. Seventh reason, you were the calm in their chaos, and now it's all just noise. It used to be chaos inside them. You knew that. You felt it. The kind of noise that never shuts off. Overthinking, regrets, anger at the past, anxiety about the future, constantly running through their mind, like a broken radio stuck between static and screams. And then came you, and you didn't fix it. You didn't silence it. You didn't promise to take it all away. But you sat in it with them. And somehow your presence didn't demand quiet. It became quiet, like the noise inside them finally had something stronger to listen to. You made peace feel possible without saying a word. Just your energy. Just your voice. Just the way you looked at them like you weren't afraid of their storm. Most people see chaos and run the other way. But you stepped closer. You made the madness feel manageable. That's why they could breathe deeper when you were around. That's why their heart didn't feel like it was sprinting even when the world was falling apart. Because you were the anchor, the eye of the hurricane, the calm. And now that you're gone, it's just noise again. Loud, messy, frantic noise. Everything's too much. Everyone's too loud. But not in volume, in vibe. The people they try to replace you with talk a lot but say nothing. They smile but offer no warmth. They touch but give no peace. It's all just static now. They can't find that quiet anymore. The kind that you gave without effort. The kind that came from knowing someone saw their worst and didn't run. You made them feel like they weren't crazy for breaking sometimes. Like they didn't need to explain their anxiety or fake a smile just to keep you comfortable. With you ain't their emotional crutch anymore. You're not the fool waiting for breadcrumbs. You're the one who found peace in isolation, who learned to make silence a sanctuary instead of a prison. They can't handle that. Can't handle the fact that they don't live in your mind rent-free anymore. That their name don't sting. That their presence doesn't control your emotions. You healed from them. And to people like that, Your healing is disrespect. And you ain't about to explain that healing either. Not anymore. You don't owe nobody a step-by-step manual on how you got up off that floor alone. You don't need to break down every tear, every sleepless night, every lie you forgave just to survive. That story belongs to you now, locked behind eyes that no longer soften when the wrong people speak. You speak less now, not because you got nothing to say, but because you've realized most people listen to respond, not to understand. And the truth? They don't want to hear your pain. They want to hear their name painted in a good light. They want you to stay quiet so they can continue telling their side uninterrupted. But you don't care anymore. Your peace is louder than their lies. Your growth outshines their guilt. And that's what burns them. That's what haunts them when the fake laughs fade and the nights get quiet. They lost someone they thought they could replace. Someone they thought would always be there. And now you're untouchable. It's funny, really. They thought breaking you would keep you weak, that disappearing on you would leave you stuck. But nah, it made you relentless. You stopped romanticizing potential. You started seeing people for who they were, not who you wanted them to be. You realized effort speaks louder than words, and presence weighs more than promises. You stopped giving chances to people who treated your heart like an option. You stopped waiting for people to choose you, because you've already chosen yourself. And from that moment forward, your energy became expensive. Not everybody gets access. Not everybody gets the soft version. Now you test people in silence. Now you measure actions, not intentions. You learned the hard way that love without loyalty is just manipulation. That I miss you means nothing without I'm here. And now you're not afraid to walk away mid-conversation, mid-relationship, mid-sentence. Because the second it costs your peace, it's too damn expensive. Let them say you're heartless. Let them call you distant. You didn't get here by accident. You were built in the fire, forged in abandonment, sharpened by silence. Every night you stayed up wondering what you did wrong was actually a night you were rewiring your mind to finally see your worth. They didn't see it, but that's on them. 'Cause people who can't love you properly will always try to convince you that your standards are the problem, that your boundaries are walls, that your clarity is cruelty. But deep down, they know what they lost. They know they fumbled someone who would have gone to hell and back just to make them feel whole. And now that you're whole on your own, they're sick with it. Never returned. And when you finally stepped back, they felt the collapse. Because your presence wasn't just a person, it was a pillar. And they built comfort around it without once asking themselves how much it cost you to keep holding everything up. Now, now, they're surrounded by people who post loyalty over everything on their stories, but can't even be consistent in a conversation. People who disappear for days and come back like nothing happened. People who choose attention over affection, validation over value. They talk about loyalty like it's a vibe, not a choice, not a discipline, not a sacrifice. And that's when it hits them, that everything they let go of when they let you slip through their fingers. That wasn't normal. That wasn't common. That wasn't something they'll find again just because they want to. Because you didn't give loyalty because it was easy. You gave it because it was right. You didn't stay loyal when it was convenient. You stayed when it cost you, when you were misunderstood, undervalued, ignored. And even then, you didn't speak bad about them. You didn't expose their flaws. You didn't humiliate them to heal your own wounds. You just walked. And now that silence is screaming louder than any goodbye ever could. They scroll through people now, trying to find what used to be a given, but it's not there. The late night conversations are shallow. The trust is missing. The loyalty is conditional. And every now and then, when the fakeness gets too loud and the loneliness gets too real, they remember how you never needed a reason to stay true. You were loyal because that's who you are. Because loyalty wasn't a method, it was your identity. And now that you're gone, they're realizing they weren't ready for that kind of love. Because you can't fake loyalty. You either live it or you lose the one who did. And that's what's killing them now. You were rare. You were real. You were the one they'll never be able to replace. Not because you were perfect, but because you were loyal when there was every reason not to be. And they broke something they'll never find again in a world that doesn't know how to hold anything real. Ninth reason, you never tried to outshine them. You just wanted them to shine too. You never made it about you. And that's something they never truly processed until now. You weren't in competition with them. You weren't there to dim their light just to make yours brighter. You weren't trying to prove you were smarter, stronger, more successful, or more loved. You didn't play that petty game of trying to win a relationship. You were rooting for them. Really rooting for them. Their growth, it excited you. Their happiness, you fed it. Their wins, you celebrated like they were your own. And now they're surrounded by people who clap with one hand, people who smile in their face, but secretly keep score. People who offer support with strings attached and motives hidden beneath fake praise. And it's draining them, because nobody wants to see them shine for real. Nobody except the one who already left. You were different. You saw their potential and didn't use it as a threat. You used it as a reason to stay. You pushed them, not to control them, not to get credit, but because you believed in them. More than they believed in themselves. You remembered the little goals they whispered at 2 a.m. You reminded them who they were when they forgot. You saw the fear behind their confidence and the courage behind their silence. You didn't mock their dreams, even when they sounded crazy. You stood in the crowd, silent or not, ready to cheer them on, even when you weren't invited to. You didn't need the spotlight. You were the support system. And now that you're gone, that absence feels like a stadium echoing with silence when they need a cheer the most. They didn't see it then. They thought your quiet love was just background noise. They thought your selflessness was weakness. They thought your way of letting them lead sometimes, letting them shine, letting them be the loudest in the room. It was just your personality. Nah, it was strength. It was discipline. Because you knew your own value. You didn't need to compete. And that terrified them. Because the world taught them that love is about control, about power, plays, about leverage. But you didn't play those games. You just gave. You just supported. You just wanted them to win. Now, they're trying to navigate a world where every compliment feels rehearsed. Every relationship is built on ego. Everyone wants to be better than the other. They miss you. Not because you flattered them, but because you were the only one who genuinely wanted to see them evolve. Not just survive, but thrive. You didn't need to dim their flame to light your own. You lit theirs and stood back with pride like, look at them go. And now they stand on their little wins, surrounded by people clapping with jealousy in their teeth, wondering why it all feels so empty. And the worst part? They look back now, realizing how you never made them feel small, never made them question their worth, never once said, you owe me. You were humble in your love, powerful in your presence, secure in your silence. And that energy, that's not something you stumble into every day. That's not something they're gonna find just because they swipe right or say the right things. That's rare. That's divine. And that's why they crave you. Because when everyone else needed the spotlight, you were the stage they stood on. And they only realized that once the lights went out, and all that was left was darkness. 10th reason. You left quietly, and that silence became the loudest sound they've ever heard. See, anyone can leave loud, slam a door, throw a tantrum, yell, I'm done, 10 times, so someone finally listens. But you didn't do any of that. You left like smoke. No noise. No warnings. No fireworks. Just gone. And that's what hit the hardest. That silence. It wasn't just quiet. It was surgical. It cut through the noise they were drowning in and exposed them to something terrifying. The absence of your energy. The absence of being cared for without asking. The absence of feeling safe, seen, and heard. They expected you to fight, They expected you to beg, to explain, to plead your worth like it was ever up for debate. But you didn't. You just vanished with your dignity intact. And that unbothered, composed, haunting kind of exit, it broke them in ways they'll never speak about out loud. Because silence, when it comes from someone who used to give everything, is not silence. It's a statement. It's a verdict. It's the final chapter written in invisible ink, left for their guilt to decode in the middle of the night. You didn't leave because you stopped caring. You left because they stopped deserving. And now every second of peace you spend away from them, it echoes. Every moment you don't check on them, every day you don't reach out, it builds like pressure, like punishment. Not because you're petty, but because your absence has power. You taught them that love doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, it doesn't beg for a seat at a table it built. It simply walks away when it realizes its value was being spent on the ungrateful. And now? Now they replay everything. Every cold reply, every delayed message, every time they brushed off your efforts, every time they made you feel like you were asking for too much when you were just asking for consistency, they remember how they confused your patience with passivity, your grace with weakness, your silence with surrender. But now they understand. Now they feel it. That your silence was the loudest "I'm done" they've ever heard. Because people don't move like you did unless they're sure. And now, that certainty has become their sickness. Every time they open their phone and your name's not there, every time they laugh and realize it doesn't reach as deep, it's you. It's your absence. It's that quiet hole in their world they tried to fill with noise, but it just keeps growing. They'll never tell you this, of course. Too proud, too stubborn. But they talk to you in their head now. Whole conversations. What they should have said. What they wish they did. They scroll through old messages, pretending they're not looking for answers between the lines. They hear your name and flinch. They see someone who reminds them of your vibe and go silent. Because that kind of exit, it stays. It doesn't scream in the streets. It haunts in the quiet. It's not a door slam. It's the door disappearing entirely. And that leaves them knocking forever. You didn't leave to punish. You didn't disappear to manipulate. You left because you finally realized the difference between someone missing you and someone earning you. You gave them your soul.